Welcome to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Here we rewatch superhero movies to explore how they build towards bigger stories, starting with Avengers Doomsday and the MCU. Hello, welcome to the Super Rant Podcast, the podcast where we watch movies and we talk about how they lead up to other movies, starting with the MCU in the lead up to Doomsday.
My name is Kevin. I'm a lead writer for Screen Rant, covering all things superheroes, Star Wars, and a ton more.
And my name is Brian, and I am very happy to be here. Today, we are talking about the 2008 movie, The Incredible Hulk, which is the second of the mainline MCU movies. And this is I think this is a good movie.
Yeah, I think I like it more than most people. I really enjoyed rewatching it this time around, especially after some more, recent MCU releases like Brave New World, which is kind of like a weird sequel to this one.
Yeah, I mean...
So many years later.
You got Ross and Stearns and all that. But yeah, it's an interesting movie. And I think that it falls at an interesting time in the formation of the MCU when they're kind of just getting things off the ground and they're still trying to figure out how they're going to make this all happen.
Yeah.
But as always, before we really get into talking about the movie... please make sure that if you don't want any spoilers, you go watch it first. You can find it on Disney+.
Yep. Should we just jump right in?
Yeah, I think we should.
I want to know your biggest takeaways.
My biggest takeaways. I think the biggest thing right off the bat, I think that is the thing worth saying, is that I miss this version of the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
The Hulk that is just raw force and anger, and he lets that anger fuel him in such a way that brings out even more power. I think that's just super cool. And, I think the smart Hulk, as it were, in the MCU, I think that's something that is an interesting thing to explore.
I think it was it felt natural at the time.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think with the way that they were taking Hulk and Banner and Infinity War, it made sense for an Endgame for him to be like that. But I think we're all over it. I think we all realize that we want a Hulk that is just a rage machine.
The return to Savage Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he is savage, right?
Yeah.
You have scenes where he's just obliterating tanks, and the final battle between him and Abomination.
Yeah.
And he's ripping bones out of him, and it's this is crazy.
He's using cars as boxing gloves.
Yeah, it's super cool, and I just love it because it goes back to the point that I like to make when we're talking about the first couple phases of the MCU. All of the movies feel very different in tone and in style and creation, and this one really feels kind of almost like a horror-esque.
Yeah,
and it's darker, it's grittier.
There's a lot of fugitive themes.
Absolutely,
really good.
Yeah, and so I think it's really cool, and I like the way that they go about using General Ross as the villain, and the things that they allow him to do and interact with Betty in certain ways. I just think I like the way that they use characters in this movie. They feel like they're reacting the way that they would.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It doesn't feel like any of their reactions are super duper forced.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
I really liked that it isn't a cut and dry origin story.
Yeah.
Because they get through the whole initial gamma experiment accident. That all happens in the opening credits.
Well,
and it's been multiple days.
Yeah.
And he's been on the run, and it kind of just launches you into it, which I think is really smart. Because there had just been a live action Hulk movie with Eric Bana.
Yeah, I was gonna say it had only been a few years prior that we got Hulk.
Yeah.
And they did all that origin story, and so for him to have been on the road and been on the run for months since this thing.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I think it even kind of looks like maybe even a couple years.
It's I can't remember the number because they gave you all the numbers of days without incident.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that that's been since the original.
Yeah, it had been quite some time.
Yeah.
So I
enough
thought that
for Betty to find a new boyfriend.
Yes, I thought that was pretty cool. I really enjoy a lot of the characters. Yeah, Bruce Banner was recast with Mark Ruffalo in 2012's Avengers.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, Edward Norton.
Yeah.
I really like Edward Norton.
I do. I like him a lot as Bruce Banner.
To a point.
Sure.
My argument is Edward Norton is an exceptional Bruce Banner, especially during this time in the MCU when he was a fugitive, when he was on the run, and he's trying to figure out a cure for the Hulk. And I think he's a really great Bruce Banner in that sense as like an individual hero. That being said, I'm trying to think about how Edward Norton would interact with like the other Avengers actors.
Right.
And I don't know if he would have the same dynamics and chemistry that we got with Ruffalo. So I think my argument is that Edward Norton was a really good Bruce Banner, but I think Mark Ruffalo was awesome as Hulk the Avenger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And especially when we get to the interactions with like Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. and the way that goes together to create, the scientist team of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I think that plays really well in the first Avengers. It plays really well in the second Avengers. When we get to Infinity War, they have this connection now. And so after Bruce sees what happens with the Hulk versus Thanos, and he's just happy to see Tony.
Yes.
And I was looking at a little bit into okay, so why did they do the recast and what happened? And as best as I can tell, Edward Norton really wanted to continue the Hulk movies as a solo project, and to have it be this grittier, darker.
He wanted to be more introspective and cerebral and modern day Jekyll Hyde.
And Marvel really wanted a person, an actor who could play well into the ensemble cast, and they didn't really see Edward Norton filling that role.
Yeah. As from what I've gathered over the years is that he had a lot of story input.
Yeah.
That ultimately Marvel Studios didn't end up using, and I think that kind of turned him off to playing superheroes just after that whole experience. So take it for what it was. I mean, I really like Ruffalo as Banner. That being said, I think Edward Norton's really good in this movie.
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that I really like the whole first half of the movie when he's just kind of figuring out where to go and what to do. He's emailing back and forth with Mr. Blue and just what all of that
Stearns,
looks like.
Yeah.
I like seeing this Hulk that that he's afraid of. He doesn't want to let it loose. He doesn't want it to be something that gets out of him. And so he's doing the breathing training, and he's approaching this Hulk problem from a very scientific angle.
And he's as scared as the Hulk as anyone else is.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Is,
if not more.
And that's such a great starting point when you look at his full MCU evolution of starting to accept his greener half,
Yeah,
and then you get that full, and again that's the full resolution with Smart Hulk, and so Smart Hulk was good for the overall progression, but I'm very excited with some of the teases. Hulk's next appearance is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day this year.
Yep.
And it's looking really like he's going to go back more to that return to form with the Savage Hulk. And I'm super stoked for that.
I mean, I think it would be great if we got a situation where, against his will, the Smart Hulk was taken away from Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
I think if there was a situation where
something happens to him.
Something happens to him where he no longer is able to use science to keep the two halves of him together. And if we talk about the comics too, there's a lot of cerebral type stories that happen where it's all the Hulk versus Bruce Banner in the Mindscape.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But it would be cool to see some of that actually happen, because we've gotten situations in the MCU where Bruce is arguing with the Hulk and Hulk comes out for a second and goes back in.
Yeah.
I would love to see the two of them face to face.
A more direct confrontation.
Confrontation.
I would love to see. I would love to see that.
Let's keep moving on though. I think something that this movie really excels at is comic book references.
Oh yeah.
I think this movie understands the source material in such a way and pays homage to those things, where if you're paying attention, you're oh, I know who that is. I know what that is.
Yeah.
And so one that I actually caught this time that I didn't realize is that when General Ross goes to get like the super soldier serum, it has Dr. Reinstein on it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Reinstein was a code name for Dr. Erskine, who was the man who gave Steve Rogers the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
And so this is a continuation of that project, which just like in the comics was the case. Both the Hulk and the Wolverine were part of the super soldier project.
Yes, and enhancing soldiers. Yes. I think it's very cool. I also, from what I've gathered, is that a lot of things got added in late in post-production.
Right.
Because they saw the success with Iron Man. They did the post-credit scene with Nick Fury. Part of a bigger universe, Avengers Initiative.
Which is crazy.
And so you see these things that when you look back at it, and you're like, oh, this would have been easy to insert in. Because you see, like, they do a lot of kind of, like, montages and inserts with, like, the S.H.I.E.L.D. database.
Right.
And you see blueprints, and it's like, oh, those Sonic trucks were Stark Tech.
Yeah, they're Stark Industries.
Yeah. So they do that connection. I think they did the scene between Ross and Tony Stark at the end. Right. I think that was also super late in production.
Oh, it had to be.
And you talk about like the setup for like Super Soldier Serum. I think that was probably baked in pretty well.
Well, and I'm wondering that.
Yeah, but also like there was going to be a post-credit scene where Banner is in the ice at the end,
right?
And the Hulk goes nuts, and you actually for a split second see Cap and the Shield in the ice.
I forgot about that.
And they cut that. I think it's in like bonus features somewhere, but really cool. But comic connections.
It's crazy that they were able to create that connection to the Iron Man movies because two completely separate studios working on these movies.
Yeah, at the time.
Because who was it that did Iron Man originally?
Well, I think the first. I think what you mean, like the first like Phase 1 movies, a lot more were Paramount.
Right.
And then 2012 was when Disney got Marvel Studios.
Right, but then the Incredible Hulk was Universal.
Yeah, there's some rights connection there.
So the fact that like there's these two different studios who have stakes in the properties, and whoever
and Marvel Studios working with them both. Yeah,
whoever was able to make those things happen together, props.
Yeah,
like whatever team, whatever people did that.
Yeah,
you guys are the core of what the MCU is now.
You wish that would happen more. Because those same like rights things with Universal is why it's been so hard to give Hulk his own solo movie sense.
Right.
And it's why Hulk is in like the Avengers movies, or he's partnered with Thor, like in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
It's because there's a whole slew of rights issues. You know, he's got to be in someone else, and that someone else gets the top billing in the title. Right. Yeah. As far as I know, it's why even like. This movie in 2008 is still so relevant, even when you think about last year with Captain America: Brave New World, because that entire movie is very much a sequel without Bruce Banner's Hulk being in it at all.
Yeah, because you get Stearns and you get Ross and you have all those connections.
You get Betty a little bit, who we haven't seen Stearns or Betty since this movie in 2008, which is crazy to think about. It's such a weird sequel, and yet I thought there were some beats in there that I liked having, especially when you talk about like Ross, and we finally get to see him with that evolution with Red Hulk.
Yep.
And he kept Stearns that entire time. I think it's cool to have that progression. I just wish Bruce Banner had been. I wish it had been Hulk 2.
Right. I
as opposed to Captain America, like Sam Wilson's first movie. You know.
Not that I would want, like Avengers and all that to be like erased. But it would have been cool to see further Hulk storylines play out.
Yeah.
And, like, for instance, there are characters that are introduced that have comic book basis that I've never seen again. Like, for instance, we get Doc Samson.
Yeah, Ty Burrell.
Ty Burrell's character, which he's in the movie for maybe 3 minutes.
I might be wrong on the timing, but that might have been just, like, a few years before Modern Family.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know when Modern Family...
But, like, that's a real comic book character, Doc Samson. He ends up getting powers, too, and getting his own abilities.
Doc Samson has, like, really long green hair.
Yeah, he's got long green hair.
Imagine Ty Burrell with super long green hair.
Just weird. Which I would love to see at some point. Just that, like... him on the
I'm sure there's fan art somewhere.
But, like, it would have been cool to see that, and, like...
Yeah.
It would have been, I think, a better payoff for, like, Red Hulk to appear in a Hulk movie for the first time. So, let's ask this question. We'll do another hypothetical.
Okay.
Who would win in a fight? The Red Hulk that we see in Brave New World, or this version of the Hulk that we see in this movie, like the end of the movie Prime Hulk,
like OG Savage Hulk. I would have to say OG Savage Hulk.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it would be really cool. I'd love to see how Hulk reacts, because they did show in Brave New World that Red Hulk has like the comic book accuracy of like having the super hot skin, and like melting things. That would it'd be such a cool fight. I hope we get it at some point. I don't know if we will. I would say OG Hulk though.
Yeah, because I think that if we went with a comic book interpretation of the Hulk, right? Like, what I would want to see them explore even more in the movies is a Hulk that gets stronger the angrier that he gets.
100%.
Which I don't know if that's ever really been, like, a thing in the movies.
It hasn't ever been, like, shown in so many words, but yeah.
It's maybe been implied, but, like, if we have a Red Hulk, who the angrier he gets, the hotter he gets, versus a green OG Hulk, that the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. I don't know. I think maybe we go with OG Hulk, but
yeah,
I don't know. Who's to say?
I mean, he took down, like, you could say, oh, Ross has the military training and stuff. Well, yeah, so did Blonsky's Abomination, but
well, and also the Hulk that we see, the Red Hulk that we see, isn't totally the fully functioning, fully conscious Ross that we see in the comics sometimes.
Yeah. Ross's Red Hulk in the comics, he's still got a lot of his, like, it's still Ross. He's still in control. And that's not what we get in the MCU.
And so
I think that's a great point.
I think because Red Hulk in the MCU isn't a fully conscious Ross as of yet, I think OG Green Hulk wins.
I think you're right. I want to share my favorite thing. And we're going to see this more as we get through.
Sorry, I had a thought.
Yeah.
He fights Abomination in this movie, who does have military training.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He still wins.
And he still wins.
So I think it's got to be OG Green Hulk.
100%.
Okay.
One of my favorite things is there's the scene when Banner is trying to collect his data from the original Gamma experiment.
Right, and
he's got the pizzas. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's really cool because they bring the old TV Hulk and he's the security guard and that's a fun cameo. But he then goes and gives more pizza to a guy who's in the computer lab, and it's Martin Starr.
Yep.
And that actor ends up playing Spider-Man's teacher and debate coach
years later.
And I love when Marvel does this, is they retroactively confirm that it's the same character. I think his name's Mr. Harrington. So it's just really funny that, like, when they do that. Like, for instance, like, we'll see in Iron Man 2, the kid with the Iron Man helmet that Peter
ends up retroactively being
Peter Parker. Yeah. Like, I love when they do that. I think it's so cool. That's one of my favorite little, like, cameos.
It's like, here you go.
And he's just got the pizza, and he's like, hey, thanks for the pizza.
It doesn't cause problems with anything. It doesn't create continuity issues. It's just like, yeah, let's make it that.
It's just super fun.
Okay, well, let's keep moving on. Let's ask the question that we're here to ask. How does this potentially relate to Doomsday?
Yeah, I mean, again, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but this movie is still quite relevant, especially with, like, Captain America, Brave New World, which we got last year.
Yep.
Banner stories continuing in Brand New Day, Brave New World, Brand New Day.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see Hulk in Doomsday.
No, and I think they kind of teased as much. Ruffalo is in that new movie Crime 101 with Chris Hemsworth, and they talked a little bit about that. And I think from what I could gather is that he kind of teased that he is going to appear in the MCU again beyond Spider-Man 4.
Well, if
but
he
probably
wasn't,
not Doomsday. I think he's going to be in Secret Wars.
If he wasn't in Secret Wars, that would be maybe concerning for the character in general.
There's also stuff that I'd like to see them continue with, like his relationship with She-Hulk. In the She-Hulk show,
right?
They introduced Hulk's son.
Right, I forgot about that.
And Scar, and there's connections there with Sakaar from Ragnarok. So it feels like they have enough things kind of set up if they get to it. I think they're hoping maybe developing like a World War Hulk movie.
I mean, that when we talk about like all-time Hulk comic books,
that's the one.
That's the one that a lot of people bring up. I don't know if it's like my favorite Hulk run, but it's definitely one of the most popular.
Yes.
Like, people will bring that up anytime they talk about a solo
Yeah.
Hulk movie.
And I feel like you kind of got like the inspiration from that, obviously in Ragnarok, but clearly I feel like there's some more story connected that they want to tell.
Sure.
I don't know if Spider-Man 4 is going to be the place where we get those answers.
Well,
but maybe they'll give us some nods. I don't know.
Well, if we to go with the comic book angle too, as it relates to Spider-Man, because we know the next time for sure we're gonna see the Hulk is in Spider-Man.
Yes, that's been confirmed.
And so, in the comics, when Spider-Man does his whole magic make everybody forget who he is thing, the Hulk remembers.
Yeah, in
and
the
comics. Hulk is somebody who is able to remember that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That's in the comics. I would love it if that happened in the movies.
Yeah.
To give Peter Parker just somebody that he can latch onto. But then imagine that gets taken away by whatever happens to the Hulk. Like if something happens where he's not Smart Hulk anymore, imagine that gets taken away and that's just another crushing blow to Peter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the kind of relationship is going to be between Spider-Man and Hulk, because it's not like they shared a lot of screen time together.
I don't know. They didn't. The only time that they would really be able to connect is sometime during Tony's funeral.
It would have to be between Tony's funeral and No Way Home off screen, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the closest they've ever been was like the Infinity War fight in the park.
Right.
And they didn't really interact.
Yeah, I guess that was the only time. And so I bring that up to say,
I mean, it's possible.
Right, like I would love for, because what we like about Spider-Man is that despite like every time he gets hit, both physically and emotionally, he gets back up.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And so I would love for him to have somebody that he can connect to, but then for like a villain or somebody who's in the movie to like remove that and to give Peter yet another thing to overcome.
Yeah, no, that'd be really interesting. Last thing, and then we should probably just get to news and wrap things up. But Abomination.
Yeah. Okay.
He has a what I thought was a pretty cool design with all the bones and everything.
I thought it was so rad, and like to be able to use those like protrusions in battle.
Yeah.
I think that's so just like raw and just like. Man, he's great.
And for the villain who was like, he was so power obsessed,
and
then he just becomes crazy.
Yeah.
My question is though, so we don't see we see Abomination a little bit earlier in the MCU than like other characters who were in like Brave New World, because Abomination showed back up in Shang-Chi in 2021.
And he was in She-Hulk after.
And then in She-Hulk. What's interesting is that they completely changed his visual design, where he's more green and scaly.
He's got the fins.
The fins on the face. He looks a lot more comic accurate.
Yeah.
My question is, do you appreciate the comic accuracy, or do you wish they had kept the OG design, which was a little more unique?
I mean, I don't hate the comic accurate design.
I mean, it's cool.
I think it looks cool. I think when I think of who Abomination is from the comics, he looks a lot like that. And I think that's fair. In a time where the MCU was creating characters and their costumes and the way they looked to look a lot like the comics.
Yeah.
I think that was an okay decision to make, to say, you know, like his mutation continued to evolve or something.
Yeah.
But that being said, I really liked the design from the Hulk, where like his transformation looked painful.
Oh yeah.
And like as a villain, I think that really works. I don't know if what I like is his ability to swap back and forth between his mutated form and his human form.
Yeah.
I think I would, and I don't know enough about Abomination from the comics to know if that's comic accurate, if he had the ability to do that. But I think as a villain, which I guess he's not really a villain anymore in the MCU.
No, because they kind of did like kind of a...
But as a villain...
Sort of, kind of not rehab arc. Right. Sort of.
But as a villain, I think to have him be stuck in a mutated form that looks painful, I think that's a better arc for that character than rather something that he can transform back and forth.
Yeah.
And the new one doesn't look like it's a painful transformation either. It just looks like, oh, I can do it. Oh, I can go back. Oh, I can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, in this movie, in The Incredible Hulk, as he's getting the injections and as he's transforming, you see like his spine start to pop out.
Yeah.
And you see like
even before the full transformation.
And like the bone, and it's like, and that's dark and it's gross, but I think that works with the character. So like you're like, man, like what is he doing to himself?
Yeah.
And he just doesn't care. And I think I like that version of the character more than the version that we've gotten in Shang-Chi and in She-Hulk.
Yeah. Okay, so to wrap things up, where would you rank the Incredible Hulk?
Ooh, like a 1 out of 10?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably say this might be controversial, but I'd probably say like a 7.
That's exactly where I'm at.
I think when you think about it as an individual movie, it maybe plays better than in the entirety of the MCU.
Yes.
If I think about it individually, I think I put it at a 7. But as I think about the MCU as a whole, which we're here to do, I think I might take it back down to like a 5 or 6.
Just 5 seems right in that context. A 5 sounds right.
It doesn't really flow with the rest of the movies in the same way.
Yeah.
Not that I want them all to be the same.
No.
Because I love movies being different. But I think in terms of story, long-term storyline, there's a few of these movies here at the beginning of the MCU that don't maybe fit in as well as other movies do.
That's fair. That's fair. Should we get into news?
Yep, what you got for me?
Okay. So, from this last week, a lot of the bigger stuff was some more Chris Hemsworth comments.
Right.
Talking about that there are indeed potential plans and talks in the works for future Thor appearances.
Which is great. Yeah, like Thor.
Like beyond Doomsday. So Secret Wars makes sense. I think there's a lot of hope right now for a Thor 5.
Yeah, which I mean, when you talk about Thor movies right now, you got to be like, okay, well, like, is it gonna be?
Yeah,
what's it gonna be?
That ties into the other thing because he also said there was like some admission during an interview where he was like, "Yeah, we went a little too far with the comedy in Thor 4." So I think there's some recognition there that people are looking for a Thor that's a little more grounded, a little closer to the Infinity War Thor we got, which is when I fell in love with Thor, like,
oh my gosh,
fully. So cool.
Yeah, and honestly, like I would have maybe even preferred the version in Endgame. Maybe not as goofy, but like a Thor that's like still pulling himself out of the pit.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see him struggle more with some of like the repercussions of. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Spider-Man, brand new day.
Yep.
Brief synopsis, nothing huge revealing other than a 4-year time jump since the events of No Way Home.
Yeah, which I think makes sense.
It's pretty much real time, 4 years being Spider-Man, most likely not being Peter Parker a whole lot, and just kind of focusing on Spider-Man in New York. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like.
And there have been some leaks and stuff, which we won't cover here today. But if you're interested,
it's out there.
It's out there, so watch yourself.
Yeah. A new Venom animated movie.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think from the writer-director duo who just did the new Final Destination.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tom Hardy is supposedly involved. We don't know to what degree.
Okay.
My personal hope is that that's how they do all the Null King in Black stuff. Because in animation, it might be better than in live action.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it could be interesting.
I don't know if like I'm at a point where I need to see Null. Just because like he's still so new of a character, and there are still things that they're doing with Null in the comics.
Yeah.
Like there's new characters being introduced in relation to him, and we had the Spider-Man 2 video game where like we didn't get Null, but we got like kind of like allusions to Null.
Yeah.
And so, which I mean, I guess Venom 3 did set that up, and so that would be the natural next place to take it.
Right.
But even though Null is a great character,
I mean, it could be a brand new Venom
movie. I think there's other ways we could take Venom that'd be really cool. Like I really like Agent Venom.
Yeah, with Flash Thompson, that could be cool too.
To see a version of that where maybe it's not Eddie Brock, maybe it is Flash Thompson.
Could be cool. That could be
really cool.
That could be really cool, especially if they wanted to connect it with Eddie and Venom being split, but they tease that Venom was still alive, finds a new host. That could be really cool.
I really like that idea.
James Gunn revealed a few things. Someone asked him on Threads if they were gonna wait for the Batman trilogy to be like fully done before doing Brave and the Bold.
Oh yeah,
and he said nope.
Just
so
all right,
we will. There is going to be a time where we are going to have kind of two Batman franchises, live action Batman franchises at the same time, which I think is really cool. I think we can handle it.
I think it'll be
I
okay.
think yeah.
I think the audience is smart enough to realize
it'll be
it's
great.
different.
Paradise Lost, the Wonder Woman prequel series,
yeah.
that is not canceled. There was a lot of
okay.
reports that it might have been, and apparently it's still in development, which is cool. A little bit of comics news, just because I'm really excited. DC Marvel team up. They're going to do the Spider-Man, Superman comics.
That's really cool.
They released a first look, and Clark Kent and Peter Parker both have their respective Daily Planet, Daily Bugle press passes.
That was the favorite image that I saw.
It looks like Peter Parker is maybe going to sub in for Jimmy Olsen, and he's going to be Clark Kent's photographer for a story.
That's cool. That's
fun. That, to me, feels more exciting, even just as exciting as like them suiting up and fighting a bad guy is just like civilian everyday having a cool conversation.
For sure.
That could be really fun. Other than that, I think that's just kind of the big stuff from last week that I got.
Okay, doke.
I think we're good for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the Lanterns logo?
Yeah. No, yeah, I did. It was a little different than the
not
when
a
they first
lot
gave
of
it.
green.
No, it's like these. It's just lanterns in like kind of like this whitish gray, and then it's got like some green on the fringes.
It's like it's a logo, but it's not like really. It's kind of just like letters.
Yeah, I saw people getting it really helpful. It's like, well, white is technically like all the colors.
It's like, calm down.
So maybe we're getting all the lanterns, and I was like, probably not in the first season.
Right off the bat.
No.
Maybe we get yellow lanterns, maybe.
Well, Sinestro. I'm pretty sure he's involved. But I mean, hey, he could still be part of the Green Lanterns. Yeah. We'll find out.
Well, all right. Yeah, I think that's where we'll call it for today. Next week, we're going over Iron Man 2.
Yes.
Gonna get a little bit of War Machine. Gonna get a little bit of Whiplash. It's gonna be great. So watch that one, and we will see you next time.
Catch you later.
Thank you for listening to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Look out for our following episode next Friday. And remember to watch the upcoming movie before listening. You can find a link to our watch schedule on our YouTube page.